Good afternoon, 24 hours later after our 3-1 victory against Everton, and it is my considered match review. I've had a lot of time to take in what's going on in the media, Match of the Day's expert punditry, Martin Keown. And afterwards I asked for a 5-word match report, so here is what you had to say. Steve Butler, Toffee's banished by Cherries spirit, like that. Paul, everyone played well. Even Rico, wake up call for Fraser, King out on the left. Missed it thanks to Sky. Ashley, no way. Gary Chapman, in the pub very early. Good man, like your style. Set up nicely for Friday, agreed. Tim, that's more like it, lads. Jack Russell, Wilson and Fraser are back. Fraser, magic off the bench. Paul, looked like we wanted it. Nick Smith, Toffee's chewed up by the Cherries. Silver beaten by Cherries gold. Wilson's brace chews out Toffees, brilliant. Cherries give Toffees some stick. Pretty sure that AFCB used that, Simon, on one of their highlights reels. We used one of your tweets for a podcast name, Cookie Acceptance. I think you need to go into script writing, mate. Even Rico got an assist, Will Partridge. Matthew, Lewis Cook, what a player. I hear you, mate. Jake, Everton were absolutely flipping garbage. Everyone had a great game. Lewis Cook is a hero. Also, Lewis Cook is finally back. This is Lewis Cook's world. Toffees came unstuck yet again. So there we go. Those were all the tweets that came through. There may have been a few others that we missed out through retweets and stuff. By the way, thank you so much. And the theme is pretty consistent. Delighted with the win. Really pleased we got the 3 points. I wouldn't say it was a must-win match, but given the other results that were going on this weekend and previous weekends, it felt like we had to get a result just to maybe give the team a little bit of confidence ahead of Saints, which of course is always a huge match for us. When you see teams like Norwich turning over Man City, who we lost at home to, Saints travelling to Sheffield United and then winning 1-0, we drew to them, you kind of think, well, these teams are supposed to be the ones that are going to be in and around where we're going to be, if not lower. Yet we're not getting results against them, and they are. That said, the amount of points we had before the game, you would say is probably about right. Losing at Leicester, it wasn't unexpected, but it was just the manner of the performance that perhaps made it worse. But it's good to see we turned things around against Everton, and Lewis Cook was back in the lineup. I was really surprised. Now, the team lineup, I genuinely wasn't sure what was going to happen with Adam Smith. It was a bit 50-50 by the sounds of it. By the sounds of it, it was actually more 30-70. He was probably never really going to play. Never really answered the question in the press conference about what's happening with him. So Jack Stacey got his Premier League debut. And then with no other left-back options, it was Rico on the left-hand side. Now, with those players, you got the inexperience of Stacey, the below par form of Rico. I honestly thought that Mepham would slot into a 3 at the back to give a little bit of stability to the players each side, but he chose not to do that. What we did have instead was a midfield 4, King out wide, Harry Wilson, and then Cook coming in with Billing. Lerma obviously just back from international duty, probably pretty tired. And then we had Solanke, well deserved I think. He hasn't really put a foot wrong, just love him to get on the score sheet. As soon as he does, I can't wait to see him fly alongside Callum Wilson. And the first half was a little bit sort of tit for tat really. I thought that we just about shaded it. I think that it was a scoreline where they did have a few chances early on. Calvert-Lewin went through on goal. Ramsdale smothered his run very quickly and managed to save. Obviously, the shot from distance from Richarlison that looked like it was going wide and then dipped at the end, hit the bar. Ramsdale, cool, calm and collected. It was fine. All day, lads, all day. And also, we had a few chances as well. Nathan Ake on the turn came off Solanke, went wide, and then Solanke himself with an effort that was very easy for Pickford when you look at it. Really needed to be low and in the corner, but instead it was high and in the middle, the exact opposite, really. So for Pickford, hands in the air, job done. We did we did forge a few chances here and there, but it did look a little bit better. Now, one thing we did, short corners, sometimes you just think, get it into the box. And when we did, we scored. Rico, brilliant, mate. Left foot delivery, and I said this previously, whilst I'm maybe not his biggest fan, his left foot is wonderful. And what a delivery it was. Solanke with the flick, and King, I don't know what he was trying to do. It wasn't what he was trying to do. He was trying to score, but it was just a bit behind him. So thankfully it came off his side or whatever. No, it's actually his left thigh, I think. And then Callum and Nathan, it was just like, who's going to head it in? Callum was there first. Really pleased for him. But before all that, Lewis Cook, it's like he's never been away. Superb in the middle, gives us that creativity and dynamism that we really miss. And you just think about it, right? A midfield four that we've got now, Lerma, the powerhouse, the tough tackler, the creativity and dynamism of Lewis Cook, the engine of Dan Gosling, the cool head of Philip Billing. Not bad, is it? And then there's Andrew Sermon to come on and do some sideways passing every now and then. Only joking. It's really not bad, but to have him back was brilliant. Pinging balls left and right, bursts of pace, that turn of gravity, the low centre of gravity he's got, spins left and right. And when you look at his every touch video on YouTube, it's an AFCB one that can be seen there. Ding! Check it out. Really good performance by him, and it's like he's never been away. Jack Stacey, I thought, did all right. Made a few errors here and there, but wasn't too bad for his first Premier League game, to make that step up from League One to Premier League. Obviously he played in the Cup, etc. against Forest Green, but it's not quite Premier League, is it? Really good to see him out there, and positionally he reminds me of Simon Francis. Said this before, maybe not in the execution, but he's got a lot to learn. He'll learn really well from Frano, and I just chuffed to bits for him, and hopefully he can push on now as well. Rico, defensively a lot better. Still doesn't attack like Charlie Daniels used to be, but is a fairly good cog. Sometimes though, when under pressure, his passes are wayward, but his delivery is awesome. None more than that corner, and then later on in the game, as I will move on to. Harry Wilson, sorry mate, poor game, poor. I'm going to say it wasn't, I saw the show reel, and there was this lad who ran at defenders and was like a David Brooks-esque character. Not for me. He didn't put a foot wrong, really, but when you compare him to the levels of other players, Josh King, astounding, I thought, has been relatively poor in recent games, but the engine, the power, the pace, the determination to get down the wing, and hey, it was him that basically created our second. Now, the second half started pretty poorly. Everton had a chance which Ramsdale saved, just like he parried it sort of over the bar, and then there were a few sort of tit for tat moments where we could have broken away and they could have, but it was very much in the middle of the park, so there wasn't a lot going on. But Everton seemed to have the control. But then Ryan Fraser's introduction made a massive difference. Harry Wilson went off, Fraser came on, and if that was the rocket up his backside that Fraser needed to be benched, fair play, Eddie, you did the right thing. Was really concerned when he wasn't on the park, but it's what he's probably needed. I've said all along that he's not really had any competition for places. Well, if you're playing with King out wide and Wilson on the other, then he has, and he reacted. And as soon as he got on the pitch, he bombed forward, he made a few nice runs, a lovely little clip through ball to Wilson, who was just offside, but then of course he had that free kick on the left, one through Josh King, who was felled, and I honestly thought that Rico was gonna take it. It was very odd the way it was done, because Fraser threw the ball to Rico, who's kind of looking like he was going to take it, but then he pops it on the ground, and I don't know, it's all part of the psychology, isn't it? And he put it down, Fraser whipped it in low, it was always going in, Fabian Delph sliding in, put it past Pickford, 2-1, absolutely delighted with that, and you can hear my raw reaction of that goal on the podcast, because I basically take my phone and I have it on all game, and then when there's something that happens, I shout into my phone. It's not quite Lim's videos because it's audio, Gotta say, by the way, people have been saying, are you going to do limbs videos? And that's that whole kind of pointing your camera at yourself. So I want to enjoy the game. I'm a football fan. I don't want to be just filming myself because I can't think of anything worse. Plus my battery will drain. But I'll do audio, that's fine, because I can just leave that on. But I want to just enjoy the game without worrying about a camera being on me, okay? So there's going to be no limbs videos. But if you want to do one, fair enough, we can put it on, or we can promote your channel, whatever. Not for me. Do limbs audio though, and it's great to hear some raw emotion. Maybe not my emotion, but yeah, that was superb for us to go in 2-1, and then 5 minutes later, 3-1. Great little passage of play from us, and then Everton won the ball back, and it sort of fell to Rico, who just played this first time lobbed ball over the top with the inside of his left foot, and Wilson had so much space. Everton were defensively lacklustre, so much room he had, and you know what? I said on the audio, on the podcast, he was level. He was way onside, even more than that, and Pickford came out to meet it, and then it was a sort of lobbed finish. Into the side netting. So pleased for Callum to get back onto the score sheet. No one loves him more than me, or maybe Jeff Mostyn does. Did you see that video? Mostyn interviewing Wilson. The love in his eyes. Oh, beautiful to see, but beautiful for Callum to get on the score sheet as well. Really, really good. So everything just seemed to gel. And whilst I say that, there's more to come, I would say. So really looking forward to the Saints game on Friday. If I was going to make a change, it would be, I would keep it exactly the same. Lerma coming on. What a good player to bring on. Brings some stability, some tough tackling, some real robustness to the midfield. I think Lewis Cook, I was so impressed. I'd be starting him again. Harry Wilson's the only player I'd bring out and put Fraser on. Otherwise, I would probably have it like for like, I would say. Obviously, if there's a set piece specialist, you put Wilson on it, but hey, Fraser scored a free kick, so they've scored exactly the same amount of free kicks as each other. Obviously, Harry Wilson might notch another, and then Liverpool fans will come on, and 1 million of them will vote for them to win sort of player of the month. Ridiculous that. But yeah, that's the only change I would make, really, because Fraser, I think, showed such an attacking prowess in that 25 minutes that he had. Great player to bring on, but if he can do that from the start, then great. And perhaps that might also inspire Harry Wilson to up his game as well. Hasn't quite gelled as much as we want, but yeah, you'd put him on free kicks, of course. But player ratings, got to say, Ramsdale, brilliant. Good early smothering of Calvert-Lewin when he went through on goal. Also parried a chance in the second half when they could have pulled it back to 3-2. Solid arms there. Really good game. I'm not going to kind of rate him as such in terms of giving him a score. Rico, great game. Stacey, a little bit less so, but you know, he's a grower. Nathan Ake, solid as ever. Steve Cook, again, good performance, but obviously there's always a dodgy Steve Cook moment, and that was that moment in the second half where he won the ball going back towards goal, but he shortchanged Ramsdale with his back pass there a little bit, and was nearly left in despair, but thankfully Ramsdale, again, proving his worth, just got an arm on it, and then Cookie managed to clear. So good defensive performance, and it just shows, you know, I think they gel, those two gel better than Mepham and Ake do, or Mepham and Cook even. So, you know, Mepham, I think, works well in the 3, really hoping that he can be another kind of option where we feel completely confident, like we did against Forest Green. But when you're playing Premier League sort of talent, Mepham, we sort of need you to up your game in those departments. And I've talked about Harry Wilson, Josh King, yeah, influential as ever. Philip Billing, a cool head, really played well with Cook. And then Callum Wilson, fantastic up front. Dom Solanke had a few chances and just was willing him to get his first goal for Bournemouth in a competitive match, but I'm sure it will happen soon. So emotions are good. Isn't it amazing how you can flick from having a down week and all things are terrible, and then all of a sudden a good week? Hopefully this is the start of something very special and a good run for AFC Bournemouth. ahead of Saints, who they'll be confident, but maybe their eyes are going to be on the midweek prize next week of playing Portsmouth. Who knows? Could be our first win at St Mary's. What a Friday night that could be. We're going to be on the train. Early doors, going to the standing order Wetherspoons, having some food, drinks, and I'll be there doing interviews after the game, I think, as well. It will be late, but we'll see how it goes. I'm sure we will be. Looking forward to the next match. Up the Cherries, and if you haven't subscribed already, would really appreciate it. It's good to know that people are enjoying the content that we've got. I got a WhatsApp. Who's this from? Eddie Howe. Loving your videos. Good man. Not really. Subscribe, and I'll speak to you soon. Cheers. Back in the day! Back in the day!